Who is running this investigation? Who is in charge of being in charge? Who's in charge of this investigation? Who's running it from soup to nuts? Who's got the little pins on the board here? Who's making moves and decisions and assigning things along those lines, right? Who's doing that, right? Hi, my name is Dr. L, and welcome so much to the breakdown. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you all coming here. Make sure you do the most important thing, and that's hit the like button. Today, we're going to go through some videos and everything like that, and we're going to take a look at about all the different conspiracy theories that are going on and surrounding the Charlie Kirk situation. If you're not aware, or if you've been living under a rock, Charlie Kirk, the political conservative pundit, was going around the country and doing speaking venues and was brutally assassinated back on September 10th. I certainly am not celebrating that. I think it's an unfortunate event. I feel bad for his family, for his children, for his wife, for his loved ones, and all that. But in the wake of this, there's been a plethora of videos being made, a plethora of theories and conspiracy theories. I keep hearing new ones all the time, and we're going to try to explain them a little bit as we go forth here. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about who's running this investigation. We understand that the FBI was sent in to help do the investigation. What their role is and is really murky to me. Are they assisting with the investigation? Are they gathering in evidence? Are they conducting the forensic analysis of the investigation? What exactly are they doing? And because it's still a state charge. It's still a state charge as far as I know, unless they find something that is going to be a federal crime or some type of violation of civil rights. So all that needs to be worked out, ironed out, and all that. Exactly what their role is and what their exact responsibilities are. I know they've been called in to assist, but what exactly does that assistance consist of? Okay. So all right. So what I want to do first of all is I want to talk about why this is being talked about to such a great degree. There are a lot of YouTubers, as I mentioned already. There are a lot of YouTubers who are making videos about what's going on here, and I think that they're doing that because we're not getting a full-fledged understanding about what's going on. Not only the roles and responsibilities and the duties of the FBI on scene. Are they bringing charges? Are they planning to bring charges? I understand that they're helping with the investigation, but to what end? And who's actually in charge of this, or is this a case of the tail wagging the dog? And here's what I mean by that. Right. So let's put this up on screen here. This is from Candace Owens here. Where'd I go here? Let's see. Here we go. This is from Candace Owens here. Right. This says, "We did this. We did this." Candace Owens takes credit for FBI director's statement on Charlie Kirk conspiracies, right? MAGA world provocateur Candace Owens took credit over the weekend for a statement by FBI Director Kash Patel in which Patel promised he is investigating theories and questions related to Charlie Kirk's killing. Kash Patel just issued the following statement about Charlie's murder, and I want to be clear, we did this. We, as in the people all over the world who absolutely refused to accept the trash narrative that was handed to us complete with doctored text messages in a vicious cycle of media gaslighting, Owens posted on her Instagram account. Owens stirred up controversy and anger by continuing to suggest that Kirk's murder involves some greater plot and that his views were changing in recent months. She claimed that he felt blackmailed by Israel and suggested a federal conspiracy is afoot. The best way to honor Charlie is with the truth, Owens said in another post, adding, what we witnessed was coordinated assassination, followed by media agents embarking on a psychological warfare against the people for noticing. Patel posted a lengthy tweet on X on Sunday saying, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring an investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight, yada, 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 it goes on. I'm actually going to read that. Let's see. Independent journalist Yashir Ali weighed in on Owens' celebration of Patel's post. She's right to take credit. If a single person is to be given credit for stirring up the most attention around conspiracies, as Candace added, Ali wrote, adding, but she also used the word noticing, and there's no other way to see the use of this word in the context as a dog whistle toward neo-Nazis and various types of Jew haters. Candace is online enough to know what the world means in this context. Noticing is I didn't know what she meant. I'm glad you're spelling this out. Noticing is a euphemism for endorsing Jewish hating conspiracy theories. Oh, I didn't know that. Ugh, okay. Wow. Candace Owens posts that she and her followers deserve credit for FBI Director Kash Patel's statement addressing the various conspiracies around Kirk's assassination. She's right to take credit and all this, right? So all these different posts. All right. So that's that. All right. So let's go to the next thing here on the pull up here. And that is let's see, let's go to this comes from Axios. MAGA conspiracy machine steers Trump's team's Kirk's investigation. MAGA activists are demanding real world retribution for Charlie Kirk's assassination, dragging their allies in the government down a rabbit hole for online conspiracy theories. Why it matters. MAGA is hungry for a crackdown, but its enemies is ill defined and its definition of success is wholly unclear. I think that's definitely true. Who are your enemies, MAGA? Who are they? Are they immigrants, people of color, LGBT? Who are they? A lack of answers from the Trump administration would leave vast swaths of the base deeply disappointed. The big picture. The Trump administration is unusually responsive to pressure from MAGA ecosystem, with conspiracy fuel narratives and personnel flowing freely between the movement and the government. As a result, theories about sprawling leftist networks, accomplices of the scene of Kirk's slaying in Utah, or overseas involvement are being treated as live leads, even in the absence of hard evidence. And this goes on and on, right? So everybody's looking at this and saying, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going on here. There's a lot of thought processes here, but what's the real deal? What's the real skinny here, right? We just can't seem to get this, and right. And Kash Patel, who's taken a ton of heat lately, is adding fuel to this fire. Here's his post from X. As the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of this assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken. Don't you know that already? The possibility of accomplices, text message confession and the related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as the potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued. To ensure every possibility is considered, our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate time and moment. This is important because you started releasing stuff. We have the killer. We don't have the killer. Okay, we have angle. We know that this bullet did this. Okay, here's a picture of the firearm, which doesn't make any sense. Why would this man take a picture of why would this man just leave the firearm in a certain place assembled when he disassembled it on the top of the roof when he fired it at? This whole thing just doesn't make any sense. Regarding specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site, we can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined that the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight. And see, here he is telling more stuff. I mean, you're telling this stuff that you know. I think he just needs to have a press conference and stop with this Gen Z millennial tweeting everything. Get up there in front of the audience there. Get up there in front of a microphone and talk to people and answer them some questions. Here's what we know. And here's what we can release that is not going to jeopardize any type of investigation, the furtherance of the investigation. Or here's what we know that it's not going to jeopardize any type of potential prosecution, for whether it's from the state of Utah or whether it's from the FBI, right? Get up there and answer the questions. Make sure you run it by people and whatever. The entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. Do they? Don't speak for everyone here. We will not rest upon until justice is served, and an investigation into the assassination will continue until every question is answered. And that was released a few days ago as I record this. So listen, that's him. That's his statement there, and all that. So what I wanted to do is just try to. I'm going to cover some some theories here that have been going around. All right, so we're gonna go over to a channel that's called Valhalla. What is the name of this channel? VFT. I don't know what any of that stands for. I watched a couple of his videos and takes. I don't know his particular stance politically, or whatever, but I just wanted he's gonna break this down a little bit here. I may end up silencing him. So here in this particular video here, and people have been breaking this down, right? So you can see my little cursor here on the right side of the screen here, right? They were breaking this down so much so that they saw a guy walking, that they think the whole thing was just computer generated, right? Here's another theory here that none of this happened. It's just all computer generated here. So this guy is walking, or a guy is walking, and they're going to show him go behind a tree, and then he never emerges from behind the tree. So take that for what you will. Now, remember, in this particular scene here, we're going to see this guy who's supposedly the shooter running down off the roof. Right, he is now supposedly somehow disassembled the rifle after he took the shot. Disassembled the rifle, left a screwdriver there on the top of the roof there, and then runs down and scuttles down, and then jumps on the side here and then runs off. Right, we've probably all seen that.
This is where the FBI says he took the shot from. Okay. We then see him immediately sprint along the front of this from that front viewed camera and sprint around this right off the back, as we've seen. There he goes. He zooms in. A lot of people are trying to say he's got a rifle with him. We're going to see here in a second. That's just silly. He jumps down, throws his backpack.
All right, so here's the part that I was talking about here, right? So I'm gonna mute him this time, right? So here's the conspiracy theory that I saw the other day, right? You can see this guy. You're gonna see at the bottom here. If you look at the tree line here, somebody's gonna walk in front of this tree right here where my cursor is, and they're gonna stop walking. You're not gonna be able to see him anymore, right? Did you see that? We'll rewind it a little bit more here. So keep an eye on this particular tree line here. You see somebody walking over here, and then they kind of disappear. So I don't know if there's a bushes over there that can't be seen or whatever, right? So now what this particular guy is analyzing is the guy is running off here, and there is no uh, uh, there's no apparent uh, disassembled rifle on him. Right. So it's not in his pants leg. He's obviously, as you can see him sprinting across here, he's moving his legs and flexing in a normal manner. There's no bulges that are apparent, etc. Right. Right. He's taking a look at him walking, right? There's other people walking. Car's gonna pull up here. Here's a car, he's gonna slow down. Right. So then he's meandering off and all this type of thing, right? And nobody notices him, and he's just kind of walking normally and all that, right? So that's a little bit of that. These guys got all the videos here, and what they're going to also start breaking down here is whether Charlie Kirk had a bulletproof vest on. And so now what they're going to talk about, he's going to talk about the type of round, the 3-06, which is a huge round designed to take down moose and elk and everything like that.
6 round from 150 meters. Okay. Let's look at a little demonstration. All right, guys, this is going to be an actual ballistics demonstration of what a 30-06 round does to a mock gel human skull. Okay. And these are literally designed to see what ballistics actually do to the human body. This is a 30-06 round. Let's take a watch. Okay.
That guy's shooting that with no with no earphones on. What's up with that? So I'm assuming that's at the correct distance, and this was done correctly, and all that type of thing, right? So I don't want to steal all this guy's content. He did a good job here, I thought. Let's see here. So let's fast forward this here.
Still frame the pictures. So here's the actual still frame. Again, the FBI wants you to believe that wound right there is an entrance wound from.
I'm going to tell you right now. When I first saw this, when I first did this, my live show, you can go over and watch that. I thought that he was shot in the excuse me, on the right side, and then that was an exit wound. But even then, I was thinking, this can't be the right size there, right. But that's an exit wound. Now, again, I don't have a lot of forensics training. I believe that this guy is a um he was somehow in the service. I don't know his exact qualifications. I heard him say that he recently got his master's degree, so he's got some kind of qualifications. You can see all the stuff on his wall back there. I don't know what any of those patches mean, so hopefully they're not they're not anything that's negative. Anyway, I mean, this is just a little bit of the conspiracy about what side he was shot on, and we're not getting any solid answers, and we just don't know what's going on here. So he's going to pull up the text messages here, and I'm not going to play them here, but I do want to show. So this is a reenactment of the text messages. I want you to understand that these are not actual screenshots of the text message. This is people's putting this up there as to what the text message would look like. And again, this is the problem that Cash Money Patel put up there, FBI director. So let's go over here and actually look at what the text messages say. I'm quite sure we've all seen that here. So let's see. Let me put this on the screen here. Here are the text messages. So this is the text. This come from the BBC. Read the text messages between Kirk, Charlie Kirk, between Charlie Kirk, accused, and roommate. So this is this guy, Tyler Robinson. They don't want to say his name, obviously, but this is the alleged text messages that he said that he supposedly sent. Again, we don't have the actual screenshots. We don't have timestamps, dates, or anything like that. We don't have any of that to look at. And obviously, there has to be a forensic analysis of the phone to determine, when these text messages were sent and who, and they're going to ping them and see where they were sent from and all that type of stuff, right? All right. So Robinson, this is the guy, right? The accused. Drop what you're doing. Look under my bed. When the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read, "I had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take it." What? You're joking, right? I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until right? Everything's spelled correctly. Shouldn't be long until I can come home. I got to grab my stuff, my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Then why did you involve him? It's still a secret. Nobody knows it's you, brother. I mean, this is how ridiculous this is. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. How does he know this? Right? This people have analyzed this. How did he know this? Are you checking your phones? And I mean, you all over this? I mean, then interrogated someone in a similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, spelled correctly. I text my boy all the time. I'm 52 years old. I don't spell yeah right. I just spell YAYEA. Maybe it's auto spelled on corrections. I don't know. I had enough of his hatred. Period. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Again, perfect. English with the punctuation. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to it, except for the screwdriver that you left, but he probably, he could have not known about that, or the DNA that just crazy. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this? Right, would your roommate really text that? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot. I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back grandpa's rifle. I deck if it, I don't care. I don't know if it had a serial number. I don't know if it have a serial number, but it wouldn't trace it to me. I am worried about prints. I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability to bring it with me. I might have abandoned it, and I hope they didn't find the prints. This guy not know about DNA. How the expletive will I explain losing it to my old man. Only thing I left was my rifle wrapped in a towel, but they found it in a box or something, right? Remember how I was engraving bullets? Remember that? The expletive messages are mostly a big meme. If I see if I see notices bulge you on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Like probably judging from today, I said Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Delete this exchange. My dad wants the photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle and it's very unique. He's calling me right now. He's not answering. Can this guy really pick out a rifle? I mean, just since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is the deputy sheriff. You are all I worry about, my love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or say any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. So that's that. So what other people did, take that for what you will. I mean, people, YouTubers have again. I'm addressing this because Kash Patel addressed it. He who is running this investigation? The YouTubers or this particular um or Cash Money Patel. So people, what they did was they ran that through AI, and I've heard mixed messages about that. Yeah, I've heard mixed messages about that. So here I ran that whole dialogue through Gemini, and it says this dialogue was most likely, and I asked the question, right? Let me see if I can see here. Probably things spelled wrong. Well, was the following written by a human or AI generated, right? And I got Collins right, Robinson, and I got all this right. All right. So then it says that's that. Okay. Then it says this dialogue was most likely AI generated. The text contains several telltale signs of AI authorship, including implausible and stereotypical plot points. The scenario involving a planned assassination of a real life political figure and a subsequent panicked text exchange reads like a dramatic, sensationalized, fictionalized story. The details, such as the engraved bullets with internet memes, feel more like a bizarre and edgy AI prompt response than an authentic human conversation. Contradictory and unnatural dialogue flow. The conversation lacks the organic and messy quality of human interaction. The characters' emotional responses often feel disproportionate or robotic. For instance, the roommate's reaction to the initial confession is surprisingly subdued and quickly shifts to direct investigative questions rather than a more realistic panic or horror vibe response. Similarly, Robinson seems more focused on procedural details and gun ownership than the gravity of the alleged crime. Oh, I got to get my gun back. Never mind, I just shot somebody in the head. I mean, not to make fun of this, but just like what happened in this? Who wrote that? Expository and repetitive language. The dialogue often feels like it's trying to provide a backstory, explain plot points to the reader, rather than serving as a natural conversation between two people who are already shared context. The text repeatedly brings up the rifle and its unique characteristics, for example, which is a common AI tendency to reinforce a narrative and element. Inconsistent tone and focus. The tone shifts abruptly and frequently. One moment it's a high stakes dramatic confession, the next it's a discussion about family relationships and meme culture. This lacks of a consistent emotional arc that is characteristics of AI models that have struggled to maintain a unified tone. Take for that what you will. I've often been critical of AI. I know that they often make mistakes. I hope all that was on there. They often make mistakes and all that, right? So let's see here. That's this one I want to close. Um, so he's responding to all this. So last thing here, we'll play this. Let me go to history here. History. Let's take that down. Let's go to all right, we're gonna go over to secular talk here. And new Charlie Kirk evidence changes everything. Kyle Kalinske show. Checked him out a couple times. He's all right. And so this is what's coming in Man of Steel, right? So this is the part where again with this fight with this 3-6 round that can take down bear and moose and elk, but somehow Charlie Kirk is the Man of Steel where it just stopped in his neck and we don't find an exit wound. And We saw what happened with the gel model there. Just like what? What? Man of Steel, Charlie Kirk's body stopped a bullet that would typically go through everything, and that was an absolute miracle. Nobody else was killed. His surgeon told TPUSA.
Insane that in the year of our Lord 2025, they wrote this with a straight face. I mean, this is humiliating. They're actually making the case that Charlie Kirk is unique among billions of human beings, and his flesh, his blood, his bones are just that much stronger that they were able to stop a bullet that others just would have no chance of stopping whatsoever. Now, that gets to the main point here, which is the story they were telling originally was, okay, the shot that hit Charlie in the neck, well, first it had to ricochet off of a bulletproof vest he was wearing, and then it went up, which is why the entrance wound was so large. Because normally an entrance wound is actually very small. Like usually where the mess happens is the exit wound. That's where you see.
Well, this is what I'm saying, right? So my years in law enforcement, I've seen, having been on scenes in these situations, we know that the exit wound is much larger and can cause some serious damage, right? Even though we haven't seen, people getting shot with 3-06s or whatever. But this was an issue.
Sort of the flesh explode and the blood come out. And so the fact that the entrance wound appeared to be so big, the explanation was, hey, the bullet ricocheted off the top of his bulletproof vest and sort of went in almost sideways or tumbling, and that's what led to the huge open wound and the blood immediately coming out. But here's the thing: Erica Kirk has subsequently come out and said he wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest. Not only that, but some people say, you could see in certain clips from certain angles, certain pictures, you could actually see a little bit of the outline of his nipple through his shirt, which would again prove he's not wearing a bulletproof vest. Okay, so
this Man of Steel, his bone density. We'll talk about this.
I definitely saw that myself.
An elk skeleton or bone. We're not dumb. This ain't gonna work. This Man of Steel, his bone density. We'll talk about this. Okay, let's talk about some things A30-06 can do. From out to about 4 to 5.
So again, this is the same guy I was playing here. So everybody's turning to these experts here, these military guys who do hunting and who have been in firefights and seen their buddies unfortunately be shot and things along those lines. Right, far more of an advance than I have training than I have.
500 yards. The 30-06 can penetrate elk bone. Why is that significant? Elk bone is significantly more dense and strong than human bone. Why? Because elk get up to almost 1,000 pounds. And so the bone has to be extremely dense to carry that much weight. Now, let's compare it to human, okay? Well, for one, let's talk about where Charlie got shot. He got shot here in the carotid. If that did hit a vertebrae in his neck, let's understand that neck vertebrae is some of the most fragile bone in the human body because it's so flexible to handle what we do with our neck. So what they're telling you is a 30-06 round, which can blow through elk bone, was stopped by Charlie Kirk's neck and a vertebrae. If you believe that, God bless your little heart. Now let's look at this actual ballistics test. All right, so we're going to watch the video from US Overwatch. You just put out this a day ago. Very good video. Check it out. I'll put his link in the comment description if you want to watch the whole video.
So our first shot will be a cold bore shot, and we will just see what kind of results we are able to duplicate.
All right, so he's got some very thick bone here across the strap of this dummy. Obviously, this would be far thicker and stronger than a human vertebrae in the neck. Let's see what this 30-06 round does to it. Wow.
Blown to bits. I don't want to steal all these people's content here, but then he's going to run through the FBI investigation, what they're doing. Again, I'm asking a question: who's running this investigation? What's going on here? And here's another guy too. I was going to play him, but I think that his theory has been debunked a little bit. Kirk's assassination new video as an evidence changes everything. I actually think that his theory was kind of debunked a little bit here. So
has his own theory that he wants to share with you. As we proceed here in this segment, you're going to see everything I've given you so far is pretty much rock solid, right? Everything I've given you so far, the fact that they're saying he's a Man of Steel, no, he's fucking not. That's bullshit. The fact that now the story about the bullet in the gun makes absolutely no sense. That's a fact. Kash Patel is scrambling and basically being like, oh, we're on it. But yeah, I guess we don't know what the fuck happened either. Well, now I'm going to go through here some of the theories, and we're going to start with somewhat plausible, and then as we go on, it's going to get into crazyville. Okay, but let's go. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now have acquired proof that the FBI's official story is false, whether knowingly or unknowingly. We're going to have an entire monologue and talk about a lot of these things after I show you this, but if you take nothing else away from this video, you need to see this.
And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself. So we're not cutting game violence.
So this video was created by a friend of mine who is a Marine. You'll see him here at the end. This is the angle he is showing the shot coming from, showing where Charlie was sitting, and the angle of the shot, which will correspond with this video here, which unfortunately we will blur out Charlie's face, but we will show what is necessary to prove that this was an entry and exit wound. So you'll see him circle the highlighted area right there, and you'll see the exit wound corresponding after, split second after, as it would from an entry and exit wound.
So why this theory has been debunked is because there's other individuals. I think that same guy from Valhalla they have another video evidence saying that this, what he believes to be blood splatter here, is actually Charlie's earpiece flying off. He may have been shot on that side. We still don't know yet, right? We still need the autopsy and all that. And it does take time to get these autopsies done, So the earpiece may be flying off, and that's more than likely what is going on here. So that's why his theory is more than likely being debunked.
This footage, you can clearly see that Charlie is shot from his back right, and there's blood splatter coming out of the entry wound immediately after a shot. The first arc is kind of down, as if it's just gushing out from the entry wound, and then this.
I would have to ask if this is an exit wound, where's the bullet? Where's the bullet?
Second shot corresponds with when his head kind of snaps forward. That fluid then flips up in relation to that motion, so you can see there's that second splatter flipping up into the air. This is something that I hadn't seen to this date. I saw this for the first time late in the evening yesterday, and I decided that this needed to be put out immediately because no one that I know of is talking about this. So big shout out to my friend who actually found this and created this video. You'll see him here in just a moment, but let's just one more time look at this shot. You see bullet comes in that circled area. You have the blood splatter go down, then up, and then immediately after, you see the exit right here with the skin being pierced, and then the exit wound emerges. And again, that is not a far distance for a bullet to travel, whatever the caliber is, whether it be 5.56, 308, 30.6. It's not even a debate at this point. It doesn't matter what caliber killed him. What matters is that the official narrative is not true. Again, whether the FBI knows or not that they're lying, but this is 100% conclusive evidence that Charlie Kirk was shot in the back of the head and it exited.
So lying is a strong word. I don't use that term lightly because you can be wrong, but lying implies the implication of deception, and I'm trying to deceive you. I can be wrong. But if somebody says I'm lying, or the FBI lying, or the police are lying, that means they're trying to deceive you, and I think that's strong language. And you have to be able to prove that that they're deliberately using falsehoods to mislead you.
Through the front of his throat. All of the evidence points to Charlie being shot from his back right. Now, including this little blood splatter that we can see here against the white backdrop, the extreme hemorrhaging from the front of his neck, which again corresponds with an exit wound, the extreme loss of blood. No matter what the caliber is, that distance, that amount of meat is not enough for most bullets to expand. I mean, 99.9% of bullets.
Again, that little thing that is flying off, they're saying, and I'm going to show another video. I think it's on this video here that they're going, or I have the video demonstrating that is actually an earpiece.
Will not expand in that short distance. Most of them require 12 to 14 to 16 inches even sometimes of tissue to expand properly. Also, Charlie tensing up correlates and proves that he was hit in his spine. It's a spinal injury. Any of the game that I've shot in the neck or in the high vitals where you impact the spine, the game usually drops right in its tracks because you sever the spinal cord. This is again exactly what we see with Charlie. He tenses up. His head movement also correlates with being shot in the back of the head. His head snaps forward, and then he tenses up, and you see him fade away, drop the mic, and was absolutely traumatizing video footage. And I'm sorry to have to show you guys this again, but this needs to be seen and talked about because this is going to be suppressed in the algorithm. So make sure you share this with any of your friends, your family members. Save this video, whatever you need to do. So this video was actually provided to the channel by a friend of mine who is a Marine, and I forgot to show you the end of the video here. So this is my friend who actually made the video. I want to just give him a shout out. I will link his socials down in the description below. Again, he is the one who brought this to my attention.
Okay, so the stuff about it looks like he was.
All right, so that's that. So I think there's another video here that I'm going to try to play. I don't know if Kyle has it, but we'll see if he has it. Let's see.
Say there. All right, so now let's go fully into Crazy Town. Let's go fully into Crazy Town. This is people were pointing this out within the first week, and it was one of those like, I don't know, man, obviously some optical illusion or some shit, but people were saying, oh, the whole event is faked, and one of the reasons is watch what happens to the chair after Charlie gets killed here. A chair.
Yeah, that's kind of nonsense there. I don't want to show that. I mean, that's just. And then here, I'm not going to talk about it here, but here is a very good scene here. Where are the police at securing the scene? This is allegedly after Charlie has been carted off. People are still milling around. The scene is not secure. Where are the cops at? I mean, this is crime scene protection 101, right? And this guy here, I believe in the shirt here, I'm not going to play Kyle. I just want to see, right? There are people milling around, and this is a camera where my cursor is. This is a camera. This guy's getting up here, taking us down. Let's see what Kyle's saying.
Around to have that subtle psychological effect on you, like, you know, I'm about to drop some real shit on you, bro.
As he's taking it down. Anybody figure out what it is yet?
Yeah, they're going to go into some crazy stuff about this being a completely hologram type of thing. I'm not going to go down that crazy rabbit hole, but here, people are touching stuff. Where are the cops at securing the scene? Even in the most tense of circumstances, we've had incidences of stuff going on, stuff going wrong, people shot, people scurrying, scattering, and all this type of stuff. The first thing you got to do as a cop is lock that situation down, right? Stop people where they are. Be careful. Create an expansive crime scene that you can always shrink later. Tape things off, stop people from touching stuff, taking stuff. Somebody could have picked up the bullet and run off with it. You know, they got a forensic analysis of all these different videos should look for somebody picking up the bullet. If it really was an exit wound here, where is the bullet? So this guy's up here taking stuff, right? Where is this footage? I believe the Candace Owens says she has or seen this footage, right? This is allegedly a camera that is being taken down. So all of this is problematic here, right? Yeah, here's more craziness about this whole thing was a staged event, and that's just nonsensical. I mean, that's just nonsensical. So, and somebody on a live that I did was talking about how he's still alive and all. I mean, it's just crazy. So last thing, let's see if I can pull this up here. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the Valhalla project here. I think he's done some good footage about this, right? So he's got another video up as I record this, just posted 21 hours ago. And this one says, does new footage disprove Charlie Kirk's shot from behind? Probably not, right? And this is the video I was talking about. Again, you can see he's featuring the guy from Range Day Bro, showing this, and we'll listen to him a little bit here. But it's going to become obvious that this is the headpiece is flying off.
If we look at the front of Charlie Kirk's shirt, pulling all the way up to his face like this is going to be very important when we talk about the next video. Okay, so these things I want you guys to keep an eye on. All right, so again, I'm sure you've seen his video, right? A lot of evidence, and to be honest, I'll tell you, from the acoustics people have done, we've had professional audio engineers do acoustics of the area. Most of what the evidence shows should lend towards the idea that potentially this round came from a suppressed round. We'll talk about the sound of the acoustics of the round here in a minute, from potentially behind Charlie. Okay, there's a lot of evidence that is pushing that way, but there's some problems with this video here about who this shooter was. All right, so take a look at this.
This guy's talking about this bush up here in the top left of this photo, and he zooms in on it, and he's stating that it does look suspicious. It does look suspicious. It looks like there is a person right here, and it looks like there is a rifle right here that the person is holding. A hand here, support hand, sort of very blurry image, but you can clearly make out that this is not just a bush.
Okay, so
he's going to talk about how this is not a bush, and as they did a top-down analysis of it, here's the area here. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so you guys can see it here. Here's the area here, and you know, that's where the bullet came from. So that's that, and so that was the blurry image. Okay, so here's footage right here of Charlie Kirk, and you're going to be able to see him. We'll listen to him from this particular point. This is obviously moments before he's shot.
Because I think that is the most definitive thing that we've seen in terms of the direction. To me, it seems very clear that the shot came from the front. Yeah, and his shirt blows backwards. And take a look, and you see the way that his body reacts.
okay, let's talk about some things here. Very, very interesting video. There's a lot going on here. I want to break it all down. Okay. Is this definitive proof that Charlie was shot from the front because his t-shirt billows up from behind? Well, like I said earlier, that clip we showed, the problem with this theory is that the front of Charlie Kirk's shirt also blows way up. Okay, we've seen both the front and the back do the same thing. The other problem I'm having with this is from behind, you can very clearly see there's no exit wound coming out the right back of his neck.
This is why you're going to need forensic analysis from real experts with real masters and PhDs to really kind of dig through this and talk about, you know, what they have seen and all that. So yeah, so this is problematic right here, right? So so I want to get to the point where we see the headpiece, and there you can see it right there. I just passed by it a little bit here. The headpiece.
The next really important part of this is what we can see from behind now, and that is what is very clearly not blood and an earpiece. So I'm still framing this so you guys can see this. This is right as Charlie Kirk is hit. What I want you to notice is, and we'll play it in slow motion here, this is what comes off of Charlie. This is what we see from that Range Day video from behind. What he said is that blood splatter. Problems with that is the color of Charlie's hair. Okay, so this is not a great high fidelity camera, so this wouldn't be picking up blood. Charlie's blood is not white. What is seems to me to be clear that Charlie has, and I have one right here with me, is a clear earpiece. So can't actually probably see it next to his skin that well. But when he gets hit, you can very clearly see that would not be red blood. You would not be able to make that red blood out next to his dark hair. That is obviously a white or clear piece of some type of equipment, whether microphone, earphone, not blood. All right, now let's actually watch it in slow motion. Earpiece, you can see it against his head, and it flies off. Yep, you can actually see it coming down the back of his shirt there. Do you see that? Yep, there it goes. So he's basically running an earpiece up the back.
All right, so that's that. So I don't want to steal all of my man's content there. So that's the earpiece. So you need real forensic analysis about this. All these internet theories. And why am I making this video? I'm making this video because Kash Patel should not be responding to all this type of stuff. What he should be doing is leading from the front. And some of his statements in that internet tweet was right. We'll get you the information when it's the appropriate time. There may still be suspects out there. You don't want to let put all your cards on the table, right? They still got to track down a lot of stuff. This investigation is going to be ongoing for a long time. It's going to be, let me say that again. This investigation will be ongoing for a long time. Even after convictions, they still have some, it's still kind of open because it's a homicide investigation. So you want to make sure you have all parties involved. You haven't left any stone unturned, particularly if it's a death penalty case, which I'm pretty sure they're going to seek. And so there's a lot of work to be done. You got to interview as many people as you can. They're probably doing a forensic analysis in facial recognition of all these students, and trying to figure out who they were and trying to interview them and what you see and what you hear and what were your thoughts and this, that, and the other. Did you pick anything up? Did you take anything with you? Did you see the exit wound? Did you see anything like that? While I have this here, you can see on the bottom left corner of this particular image here, where my now my camera anyway. Now my mouse is not showing up. My pointer is not showing up, but you can see towards the chair that Charlie's sitting in are a pair of hands. Let me address this issue about the hands. Let me just ask you a question. If you're part of a plot that somebody's going to take out your man, right? This guy, any guy, right? But you're going to stand next to this guy on a stage. What if this guy misses? What if the wind takes it? I just think that's so. I just think that is so ludicrous to stand or to be making hand signals. Okay, yeah, now's the time to shoot, and this, that, and the other, and I'm standing 5 feet away from the guy. What? I just think that's ludicrous, right? So that's that right there. I don't believe the hand gestures thing, and all that. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to play from him. I don't, he kind of goes through this, right, in his, training expertise and this, that, and the other. But again, who's running this investigation? Is it the tail wagging the dog or the dog wagging the tail? What's going on here? Lead from the front. And, a lot of people were fired from the FBI, and a lot of years of experience have gone by the wayside. And, one of the big things that I don't like about this particular generation, number one, is the use of AI. Number one. Number two is, they just got to take what I'm calling it the taking pictures of your food effect. What do I mean by that? I'm saying that these people got to put everything on the internet. You got to respond to tweets, and you got to answer all these questions and this and the transponder, this and hand signals. This is what the director of the FBI is responding to. Internet memes, people on the internet like myself and people with great, obviously larger followings than me are addressing this type of thing. Listen, we're not getting the truth, but is it a lie? I can't say it's a lie. It's just an incomplete picture. And everybody's trying to fill in the gaps, and you're not going to know it a day and a 2 or a week or a month. It's going to take a while. They're going to have to reconstruct this entire crime scene with all the people there and replicate the firing from different angles to see where the shot was fired, a ballistics of his head, ballistic analysis, a forensic analysis of his head, and the actual, how the bullet actually killed him, and all that. But you have to have the round to do it, and you have to know for sure what size this was, and you have to dig into his cranial region and neck cavities and all that, and really determine what happened here and how the bullet acted and reacted when it was in his body. And it's a gruesome job, and it's a painstaking job to reconstruct this crime scene. And we have to give it time. And I appreciate these people who are trying to say, what we're seeing is nonsense. And I agree with them. I think that what we're seeing is nonsense and doesn't make any sense. On the other hand, you can't jump to conclusions. I'm hoping that Kash Patel is up to the job, but we got to figure it out. And you should not be reacting to these types of things. If anything, put out the fire. If anything, do a press conference, stand before an audience and say, here's what we have so far. But I want to remind you that this is an ongoing investigation that is going to take weeks and months to really solve. We may have the killer, but he's not cooperating, and we are looking for other accomplices. We're looking for some other things. There's certain things I can tell you, certain things I can't tell you because of the integrity of the investigation and because of the integrity of when it goes to trial. We don't want to taint the jury pool and etc. Got to be able to say that. You got to be able to stand on that. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Much love and peace.